All right. Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to Product Coffee. Got a couple folks jumping in here. Gotta make sure we get everybody in here. So, hey, Maduri and Octavio, how you doing today? Here we go. Got to unmute. There it comes.
Doing well, thank you.
All right, you bet. Welcome to Product Coffee. We are we got a good one today. I was looking at the registration just to excellent. Got to start the day with it. And we've got we got a couple of things that aren't even on the agenda today that I didn't even publicize. I'm really excited about. We're going to be showing off the new premium experience a little bit for our Product Coffee premium members, but for everybody to look at. We got some great new resources coming here, and we've got a few people joining us for the first time today, and that's always exciting as well. And so I'll just kind of give a little bit of an overview of what we do here. About the first half hour of these sessions, the first thing that we do is we just get to know each other a little bit. Just have some coffee, some tea, some soda, some lemonade, some vodka, whatever your thing is, and talk product stuff and just introduce, as though we're at an in-person networking product management meetup. We're just going to hang out for a few minutes and get to know each other a little bit. Sometimes we share challenges that we're working on that we'd like some help with, and we connect with people who can help with that. Sometimes we have folks who are looking for a new opportunity, and we have folks that have opportunities that they like to share. So we just kind of spend a little bit of time chit chatting here. And if your camera is on, we definitely appreciate and prefer that. And if you want to sit back in the corner, if you're in the middle of something and you can't turn your camera on, that's okay. But if you can turn your camera on and join us in person, we'd really value that. And we'll go around the room, and for those who have their camera on, we'll in a minute, once we get a few more people in here, we'll do some introductions and just get to know each other a little bit, and let people talk about who they are and what's on their mind. And while we're waiting I wait till about 10 people get on to do that. But we've got coming up a few things. We're going to kick off a new book club here very soon. I know that Allison and Manesh and Brandy are working on selecting the next book. We've got a few ideas out there, and that's just one of the things we do here at Product Coffee. It's open to the world, open for everyone. We read a product management related book together, and for all the books we've done so far, at the end of the book club series, we've had the author come and join us and do a Q&A and a discussion with the author of the book. So we've had some really fun times with that. We just had Stephen Wunker, who wrote our last book, which was Jobs to Be Done. He came out here about, I think it was 2 weeks ago right now, and we did a deep dive into what he had been working on with the Jobs to Be Done book, and he gave us a whole bunch of resources that weren't in the book. He was just like handing out materials for that, and he's got a new book coming out in the new year. We're going to talk about that a little bit as well. With him, and see if we can bring him back and just kind of do part of his book tour here at Product Coffee. So that'll be a lot of fun. And let's see. I got Rashir's here, Ziv's here, Maduri, Luke, Brett. How's it going, Brett? Hope you can get your camera on and join us face to face in a few minutes as well. We've also got some folks out on YouTube. If you're out there on the YouTube channel, please give us a shout and tell us who's there. Oh, I see Brett's out there on YouTube as well. So cool. Good to see you. One of the other things that we've got going on is we have, and I'll talk about this a little bit more later, but we just scheduled our next workshop, which is going to be on October 27th. And we've got Janet Bumpus, who is one of the few real product vision consultants out there in the marketplace. She does a lot of coaching with teams and companies on establishing and building their product vision. And she has got a 5-day product vision design sprint that she runs through with her clients all over the world, and she has condensed that down to a 3-hour product vision sprint. And we're going to do a workshop on October 27th that will run through that 3-hour vision design sprint with your own product in real time. And that's going to be it's going to be really valuable, really exciting. Going to walk away with work that you have done that you can take back to the office and use to help bring your team together in an even more aligned kind of way. Registration will open up for that tomorrow, so make sure you're subscribed to the Product Coffee email so you get that notice, and watch our LinkedIn feed as well. We will have some early bird pricing available on that for early registrants, and of course, Product Coffee Premium members always get those for free, included with your membership. So let's see here. Well, Octavio, why don't we just kind of, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me, welcome to Product Coffee. Tell us a little bit about who you are.
Thank you. I'm a product leader, product manager by trade. I've been working mostly in the enterprise SaaS space, B2B, B2B2C sort of companies for the last 22 years.
Yeah.
And I'm looking for my next role right now. And I've always been sort of postponing joining these sessions. So, I ran out of excuses now.
Time opens up. You can catch up on some reading.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
And I've always been at fault for, delaying joining these. A bunch of my friends join. and have brought things into companies we were working in together that really made a difference. So it's like, all right, this is a no-brainer.
Yep. Well, I'm glad you could join us today. I am. I totally understand. We are, but no matter what brings you here and when you get here, we're just glad you got here. Looking forward to getting to know you a little bit more. So, tell me, you've been B2B and B2C. That's great. So, but let's talk a little bit about when you're thinking about your next opportunity. Have you started to hone in on some of kind of your ideals? One of the questions I always like to ask is, in your next role, what is it that you want to accomplish? What do you want? What do you want to learn? What are your goals for your next role?
Yeah, I'm definitely more interested in the B2B space in general.
Mhm.
Areas that I'm looking to, really grow into more are the business side of it, from the company management, sort of exec management side of it, but also the market analysis. I've mostly been in companies where the target niche was set, and it was the rails were pretty straight. And
Mhm.
so leveraging all the new tools we have today with AI and with the amount of data we have now to evaluate the market, evaluate your TAM, product fit and all of that. Those are the main areas that I'm really interested in
Okay.
moving forward, because it's been such a revolution. And again, it's sort of being in the similar industry for a while. I haven't
Mhm.
grown those muscles yet, and so those are the areas I'm really interested in. So
So
things
real
like the product vision, it fit perfectly in there.
excellent. Well, I'm going to be rolling out a tool today that you're going to want to bookmark because when you jump into that next role, it's going to be a great tool to help guide kind of evaluating what's there in the existing product vision or lack thereof. I was having a great dinner last night with a colleague of mine, with a professional colleague of mine, and talking about um, the challenges even in a well-established, fast-growing company of having a product vision that's aligned with a business vision, and discovering how to get those into alignment, and even evangelizing the value of a product vision, and that looks down the road, not just tomorrow, not just next week, but 2 to 5 years down the road, so that you can really unleash some creativity and some innovation.
Yeah,
So we're going to
totally.
really get into that really deep today. Let's see here. Let's go over to Luke. Hey, Luke,
Jason,
why
I just
don't
have a quick
yeah,
question.
yeah,
Do
yeah.
you have unprofessional colleagues? You made a point of
I
calling
do
out
actually
colleague
have.
and then professional colleagues. So what colleagues do you have that are not professional aside from
That
me? I'm
that's
doing
a
professional
fair
in my life.
question. I got a lot of professional colleagues who are
Jeff.
also unprofessional at the same time. Yeah, I'm not going to name names, Jeff, but the or Holly or Brett, but
It was just weird the way you went back to add that. I was like, the word colleague implies a professional relationship, sir.
that's
Teacher, point of
fair.
order.
Fair point. So hey, why don't we thanks. I needed that this morning. Thank you. Hey Luke, why don't you say hello and introduce yourself?
Yeah, hey everybody. So I have a little bit of a unique perspective and approach. So I'm actually an orthopedic doctor of physical therapy, so I'm not even in product yet. I'm actually I got this product coffee from a friend of mine who is in product management, and I've long been kind of thinking about a move away from traditional patient-facing healthcare role.
Mhm.
And product came up and was something that I was kind of developing a passion for, and something that I'm trying to figure out, searching for a role that would blend nicely with my skills in healthcare and patient facing with how do we actually improve efficiency and effectiveness of a pretty outdated healthcare system. So
Mhm. Absolutely. You're actually moving into product management from another field, especially right now, is incredibly difficult because the market is flooded with great product people. There were a lot of cutbacks. You are actually in one of the most favorable positions to find a way into that transition. The medical field in general, medical technology, whether it be in goods and services, or even just in software or customer experience type products and services, is one of the places that they really crave product management product managers who have industry expertise and really deep understanding. So that subject matter expertise that comes from your practice actually does serve you really well. That's actually one of the pieces of advice that I give to people most of the time that are looking to move into product management is leverage your own subject matter expertise, because when you really know and understand the customer and have that firsthand experience, then it gives you a vision that can be leveraged into learning the product management skill set. So
I would jump in there, Jason, and agree with. I'd be happy to talk anytime. I had one of those
please.
similar paths to product. I managed back office operations at a bank for a very long time, and then I went to being on the product side and building software used by the top 1,000 banks in the country, because I could literally speak directly to them, to their problems. Sometimes problems I didn't even know they were having. I'm like, have you looked at your Fed account? Do you know how out of balance it is? You know, and so it's like that can be a really, really good sweet spot to get into product, where it's like who knows that problem or the other side better than you, right? Or at least can speak to it, or that has believability in that space, right? As someone who's been on the inside of healthcare.
Yeah, thank
And
you
who
guys.
doesn't want to have a doctor on their team? Sorry.
Yeah, no, thank you guys. I actually I just did last week a 3-day virtual course to do. It was a course for Scrum product owner through Scrum Alliance. It was something that someone had recommended to me. I know there's a ton out there from what I was, researching. And I just kind of definitely liked that aspect of where it was really, producing and creating and having a good vision for a strong product means really understanding your user, your customer. And so like, that's something I think I'd definitely be able to have a lot of value added. So.
Excellent. So yeah, really excited to have you here joining us. I think you're on the right track. Anything that you can do, one of the things you might consider doing. Also, where are you based, by the way?
I am in Atlanta.
Okay, so in Atlanta, there is down at Georgia Tech, and also at Emory. I don't know the Emory program nearly as well as I know the Georgia Tech program. There are a few startup incubators that are working on commercializing technologies that have been invented at those institutions. And they often need very specialized expertise just to help with those startups to reach in and make connections. And those are some good places to go in and exercise these new product management skills that you're picking up. Sometimes you might need to volunteer your time or do a little sweat equity into some of these things, but it gives you a place to exercise some of these things that you're learning about product management, blend your subject matter expertise, and help them commercialize and help them bring a new company to market. And that kind of gives you some of that resume experience that'll help you land the bigger, more formal product management roles as well. So a couple of resources to check out. I don't know the Emory program as well, but I know that they've got one. We might have some folks here on the call that do know it. If so, please raise your hand. But if not, we'll see if we can find some folks to connect you to.
Thank you.
The Emory Hatch thing.
Yeah, that's the one, Jeff.
Yeah, Shannon runs that. He'd be great.
Shannon included the hatchery, it's called at Emory.
That's it. Cortland's always here to correct me. Thank you, Cortland.
And we should also, point out we have the pleasure of having a lot of awesome product people, including product coaches, involved in this group, Luke. And so obviously, Jason missed telling you the first thing you should do is watch all the back episodes of Product Coffee.
Absolutely true.
Absolutely. Join Product Coffee Premium, dive in deep, watch all the back episodes. Only half kidding. There's a lot of good stuff. There's a lot of stuff that would help. But we also have Product Management University engaged here in Product Coffee, and some of those courses, if you just look up what's out there that John has, and we have links and even discounts to the paid courses, would be really, I think, advantageous. It's just a way, if you're learning, learn the right way, right? There's so much out there, to your point, and I was kind of cringing internally when you said that, because some of those things actually, to me, teach them bad things and take people down paths that are too book focused. And like you have this amazing fresh opportunity to come in with eyes, clear eyes, unclouded eyes, whatever the statement is, right? As someone who's been that your customer, been on the user side, seen these market problems, and don't let all the here's what you need to do cloud that. And I love Jason's comment about just getting in and doing it, because right now your value is probably, no offense, largely not on the product side, but on the insights you have. But jumping in and doing it and saying, okay, talking with that group, and a startup, a CEO is largely going to be kind of your product officer, right? And so just what do we need to do to bring the product to market? Let's you get that insider and view and understand it. And there's nothing like doing it. Nobody learns better than by doing. I'm sure you know this as a doctor. You can read a book a million times, but I'm sure the first time you have to actually like jam something down somebody's throat or cut them, it's different.
Absolutely.
And
Great.
what's the right role for him to research on the software side?
So, Cortland, what are you asking?
Sorry, what's the proper role to apply those skills that he just described to in the software side? I'm on the hardware side. We're just product managers. We don't have product owners per se.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So it's, go ahead, Holly.
No, I was just going to say, I think to me that differs by company. Those words get used. That's kind of my point. We don't get stuck down in the minutia, because somebody will tell you, this is a product owner and this is a product manager. And those are just words. Those are titles. It changes who owns responsibility for that. But understanding what those roles are and what functions or responsibilities fall under them is the key. I did like still pragmatic marketing's framework for that, because they just say these are the things that product is responsible for. And at any organization that can be divided up differently under different titles within the product management organization. Jason, I'm sure you had something smarter to say there.
No, I think you nailed it. And there are also, when you're talking about entering into product management, there are vectors that you can take into a product management career as well. That might mean taking a role that isn't exactly product management, but leverages your expertise and gets you closer to that team. For example, one of the great spaces, whether it's software or hardware, one of the great places to move towards product is sales engineering type roles. If you've got deep industry expertise and are good with the customer and the target audience, you can move into those kind of roles, which are a really good bridge into a company, into a marketing role. Those roles are much easier to come by. They're simply because they crave that specific expertise and don't take that special product management experience to help with. I see we've got Marcos on here as well today. Customer experience, CX type roles that leverage deep industry expertise have a lot of overlap with product management and move closer to product management type roles. But still, pure product owner roles to just really get in with a technology team and translate market and business requirements into that kind of actionable technical requirement that the team needs in order to implement technology. Those are all good vectors into the more strategic product management roles. Marcos says project management overlaps too, but no, I'm just kidding, Marcos.
I would add in caveat though, Jason, you mentioned sales, and I said that in the chat too.
Yep.
I was typing a long note and realized I should probably just say something about it. You have to be careful with that though. I think that's a two-edged sword. Sales engineer is a great one. I've seen that be very successful, but at least in the industry that I've worked in most of my, well, I shouldn't say industry, I've been across banking and commerce, but a lot of, especially if you're in a bigger company at some point, that's seen as going black hat. Literally, if you go to sales, you cannot come back to product, because people have a view that, how salespeople are, they'll tell you anything, right? So as a product person, you have to, at some level be seen as this, white knight, the original wizard that just, you're going to just judge everything based on how it is, truly what the universe needs, what's more important, right? And make these grand on high decisions and not be moved by the proverbial dollar, even though we all know one of the first things we're looking at is what's the value of solving this problem and will someone pay to solve it? But still your customers need to have that trust. So you have to be kind of careful with coming from sales or going to sales and make sure it wasn't like a quota driven sales role where they're just like, that person will say anything. Jeff will buy anyone, any chipmunk a drink for $1,
You got a point of order there too, Holly. It says the abused Jeff window has not yet opened. It doesn't open until 8 a.m. Yeah.
Apologies. We'll roll them back and replay them then, Jeff. But this isn't abuse. You haven't begun to see what abuse looks like.
Let's jump over to Ben. Good morning, Ben. Why don't you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, Ben of the RA. I am also relatively new to product. I've got 18 years of experience in international business, consulting, investment banking, and like revenue strategy for hotel brands. Spent the last 5 years as like an IC and also leader of product managers at a real estate marketplace. And then the last year and a half, I've been working on launching a restaurant brand into the Brave Stadium. So what I'm really kind of doing here is just getting back up to speed with what corporate product kind of requires and the jargon and just networking and listening for the most part. So, yeah.
Very cool. Well, welcome. We're glad to have you. I'd say 5 years of leading product teams is not new to product.
So that's been interesting because I didn't know what product was before I started as an IC, and then I quickly fast tracked into leading large teams, anywhere from like 28 to 70 people. So it's been interesting that went across engineers, product managers, and operations and account managers. So it was, I think that we were unconventional at the company. And so I guess I'm trying to, as I go out and remarket myself, understanding how other people speak about the roles, let's put it this way, what's the North Star in interviewing and how do you best present yourself to make sure that you're putting your best foot forward? Because again, it's positioning. If I go in and say, for instance, Haley, that I was a salesperson, maybe they're going to think that I'm going to catch all the fish instead of focusing on the right fish, right? So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah, that's a great set of questions. And I even like the question, what is the North Star in interviewing? I haven't thought about it as a metric per se, but I do always view an interview as a two-way street, as we are trying to find mutual fit.
Yeah.
And so there's definitely discovery being done on both sides. But how would one measure that? That's a really interesting question. How would one think about a true North Star in that type of situation?
I think I don't know the answer. I don't know a lot of answers. That's part of what I'm here for in life, right? To learn it. But I kind of thought what Haley said was interesting is not getting too caught up in whatever X, Y, and Z are that have been packaged up, right? Because I'm going into these interviews and I'm also involved in other groups like a Never Search Alone group, just to kind of define things and come up and talk with other team members. And everybody's really frustrated with the market right now, but it's also interesting to hear, I followed this product sense and product strategy type questions and behavioral, and they're practicing all this and that. And what I'm really hearing is that like, they're getting feedback that seems like would drive them in the right direction, but sometimes we're overcorrecting. And you hit it right, Jason. In my experience, and my first job was in Latin America. Like, you build relationships with people, and it's really, there's probably one person I talked to said 12,000 people applied for the role that he applied to, right? And they've got to have a leg up or connection and also have a vibe with that person to some extent to fit the culture and get that job. So I don't know if there's a North Star.
Sorry.
No.
Now you got to have an in with Chat GPT or whatever the AI engine is that's doing all the software screening on the resumes, right? Like, it's impossible to get through that thing. I think it just sees my name and just says, nope. She's the one that wants to take down Skynet. Kick her out.
Okay, Octavia, I don't know if you picked up on the Never Search Alone, or if you've heard of Never Search Alone that Ben just mentioned. It's a book by a guy named Phil Terry. If you haven't picked it up, I just dropped a link in there. We've had a lot of people in Product Copy that have been part of job search councils and have been a part of Phil's community. And it has gotten some amazing, fantastic results, this approach, for a lot of folks in our community. Strongly recommend checking that out as well. So
nice. Yeah, I'm having my orientation this afternoon. So
excellent. Great. Fantastic. So let's see here. We've got about 4 more minutes. Who have we not heard from officially? Oh, Ben, one more question. How do you pronounce your last name, Ben?
You can say Izaguirre, but correctly it's Izaguirre. So I didn't learn how to say it till I was 10. So
Okay,
we'll
I'm
get
going to
there.
go the way you went. The way you went first.
Sounds good.
It's a Gary. Nice to meet you. Welcome to
You too.
Product Coffee.
Thank you.
And
Hey,
I'm Holly, and I didn't learn how to pronounce that till I was like at least 5. And my dad had to say "ha" like you're laughing, "lee" like you're Chinese, and I was like, "That's great, thanks, Dad." That really actually works. I can pronounce my own name now. Thank you.
And I was going to actually pivot over to you, Holly, and get you to officially introduce yourself to the new folks who don't know you yet.
Awesome, happy to do so. So as just discussed, I'm Holly Jewell. For those that don't know me, I had the great joy and privilege of being in cahoots, I guess is the best way to say it, with this guy here for the better part of, I don't know, 12 years now. So I am now serving in the role of the president of Product Camp Atlanta. If you are in the Atlanta area, and this is not an Atlanta-centric group, but if you are in the Atlanta area, Product Camp is an annual unconference being key here, and we just had it at the Georgia Aquarium, and it was amazing. So I'm still in recovery mode, and then I'm going to be pivoting to planning out the next one. But we want it to be iterative, and so this is a community. So Product Camp partners with Product Coffee to continue doing things in between. We have monthly happy hours. So definitely, if you have not yet gone to productcoffee.com and check out the events page, that's something you will want to do. I also get to serve as a director of programming for Product Coffee when I'm not heads down on a product camp. So it's a lot of fun. There's nothing like this community. I went to my first product camp, I guess it must have been over 12 years ago, because it's before I met this guy. And it was amazing. It blew my mind. It was in San Diego. I was actually there for a client thing and got trapped on a weekend and went, what to do near me? And discovered this whole concept and went, this is amazing. So we didn't invent product camps, but I got to tell you, I've been to a lot of them over this country. I want to go to Berlin and Dublin. Need an expense account for that, Jason. But anyway, ours is the best. I mean, I'm not just bragging because I'm the president. Long before Jason knows, I was just a lowly volunteer. I was like, this is the bomb.com. This is where it's at, people. So if you ever get the chance, obviously we're going to over communicate when the next one is. It's worth flying in for if you're somewhere else, just saying. And we will let us know you're coming. We will rock the house. So anyway, there you go. I'm Holly. Lovely to meet everybody. It's really awesome to see some new faces today and make some new friends. And Luke and Ben and Octavio, I'm happy and looking forward to connecting with all of you. Please hit me up on LinkedIn so we can continue some chat.
Awesome. Thank you.
And let's do one more. Let's see. I don't see any new folks with their cameras on. So let's jump over to Allison. Allison Herbert, why don't you say hi?
It's so funny. I always know when you're getting ready to call me. That's the funniest thing. Good morning, Jason.
Good morning, Allison.
Coffee folk. My name is Allison Herbert. I am a senior product owner at Milliken & Company. I am a success story of the Never Search Alone process and the Product Coffee community. So if you need any advice or wait, how did you do that? I'd love to talk to you about it as well. I'm under 5 years in product total. I'm a career switcher, and I am perhaps at the most enjoyable role I've ever had. I know it's early. I know I just started, but it's sticking. So, and they haven't scared me away. So I'm really excited about that. Something that has my attention, there's a couple of things, but I did just finish a book. And as my other alias in the Product Coffee community, I thought folks would like to know that if you have not yet read Build by Tony Fadell, you should put that on your list and perhaps do it sooner rather than later. I listened and it was very, very, very timely, very resonant, and I enjoyed it. I know it's been out for a little while. And actually, David Eckert, I think, recommended it to me at camp last year. Okay. And I was in the middle of reading it on the way down. So I told him, I was like, I finally got to your book. So that was exciting to hear that. So looking forward to the conversation this morning.
Awesome. Thank you, Allison. Allison is our product copy librarian, which means she holds the keys to the Zoom account that we run the book club through, and leads the book club committee with Manesh and Brandy to kind of keep that thing moving forward. So we've got a great crew running that, and that just kind of sprung up kind of semi-organically. We did a couple of years ago, we went through as a group read. We did Marty Kagan's Inspired, and just kind of did that as a group, and people really enjoyed doing that book club. So we just kept it going, and Allison and Manesh and Brandy stepped in and said, "We will keep it going," and have continued to do about 4 books a year now. Is that about right?
Yep. So we're at 3 for this year. Don't know if we're going to squeeze a 4th one in. I'm going to try. We might
right.
jump into January with where the calendar lies, but knowing
Okay.
that folks have holidays and there is time off at the end of the year. But yeah, hoping to do 4 a year. That's our goal.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you. So let's shift gears. We are at the top of the hour, and before we get into our main program, I got something really cool I want to show you. But let's get some housekeeping out of the way here real quick. And the first thing that I absolutely want to do, is I want to take just a moment to give some thanks to our sponsors here at Product Coffee. We do this program every single week. And we put a lot of content out there on the interwebs, on the net, and it is, it's free to you, but it's not free to do. So it takes a lot of resources to make these weekly programs happen. We have a lot of folks working backstage on things, and that is all thanks to our sponsors. So what we ask that everybody do is get to know our sponsors a little bit, and I'll give you a quick introduction. As a matter of fact, I'm going to start with, since we've got Jeff Meddy here from Method, I'm going to let Jeff introduce our diamond sponsor, Method, and talk a little bit about what it is that you do, Jeff.
Thanks. Good morning, everybody. So as Jason said, Jeff Meddy with Method. I lead our Atlanta office here, and Method is a product design and engineering company. We work with a lot of great companies to launch new products and experiences. And we've always been I guess since day one for Product Coffee, been a proud sponsor of Product Coffee and love participating at whenever possible. And more recently added to Product Camp, but I would agree it is an amazing event and continues to be one of the best ones, if not the best, is Holly. But I don't want to disagree with Holly. So the best one in the world. So anyways, good stuff. Happy to be here and happy to connect with anybody. We also do have some open roles on our site, so we're hiring at the current time, but looking forward to the session today.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Jeff. Thanks for all you've done to support the community. And that's kind of, one of the reasons we really want to be appreciative of our sponsors is they're not just supporting a program, they're supporting an entire community. They show up, they help our people, they lend their talents and their expertise and often and help out the folks in this community at scale and individually. So in addition to Method, we have Sophie on, which if you look in the chat right here on the Zoom call, we've got links to all these websites. Sophion launched earlier this year or late last year acclaimproducts.io, which is a whole tool set for making sure that your product is aligned to your business objectives and you can clearly communicate how the work you're doing in your product portfolio is contributing to the success of the business and help really create a lot of visibility there. So check out that product. They've got a 14-day free trial. You can literally log in and put it through the ringer, fully implement the product to learn how it can help your organization. Genuine Parts Company is another company. They're based here in Atlanta. They're hiring a ton of product management roles this year and into next year. They literally sponsor Product Coffee because they want to get in front of the kind of people who are coming here to better themselves and to learn more about modern product management. And they are looking to hire the kind of people that show up to these kinds of calls to learn. They're doing a massive transformation of their entire product management practice, bringing modern product practices into the organization and are looking for experienced product folks to help them do that and evangelize these approaches within this incredibly family-focused organization. We did a great hiring event with them last week, where they brought about 30 Product Camp and Product Coffee folks into the room to interview with hiring managers right there on site, and they've still got more positions opening up every single week. And of course, we've got Product Management University, John Mansour, our good friend who has been with us since the beginning as well. And Product Management University is a fantastic source for online education or team training for product management teams, both in product management, product marketing, and sales demos. And John has agreed to offer a 25% discount on all Product Management University courses, both online and in person, live trainings, 25% discount to Product Coffee Premium members. We'll talk a little bit more about Product Coffee Premium in just a moment as well. And of course, featureupvote.com. If you go to productcoffee.com/ideas, you can make suggestions for the types of things you'd like to see here at Product Coffee. And that'll be using the featureupvote.com platform. It's a really low cost, easy to implement voice of the customer tool that you can implement and send you and put in front of your customers in about 15-20 minutes. So thanks to all of our sponsors. Check out those links and visit them. They're on the YouTube channel in the description of this session, as well as in the chat here on Zoom. So just announcing today, registration will open tomorrow for our next Product Coffee workshop. It's going to be the 3-hour product vision sprint with Janice Bumpus. Janet has a 5-day product vision sprint that she works all over the world to guide teams through developing and storytelling around their product vision. She has condensed this into a 3-hour super sprint to help you get a head start, lean into further defining and refining and building some storytelling around your product vision. That is going to be on October 27th. It is $199. We will offer some early bird pricing when we go live with the registration tomorrow, so jump on it very quickly. And of course, Product Coffee Premium members get that workshop included in your membership. And Product Coffee Premium is our deeper dive into product management. We have a premium Slack channel for all of our Product Coffee Premium members to get to know each other better and help each other out with the challenges that they've got. Product Coffee Premium members get access to our entire catalog of back episodes. And Product Coffee Premium members also get a new professional development workshop every single month of the year. We do it 12 times a year. This year, for the next few months, we've got Janet coming on October 27th. In November, we're going to be talking about strategic prioritization with the 60-second business case. And in December, John Harmer from Google is going to be here walking us through a whole new tool set of AI tools for product managers to help you be more effective as a product management professional using AI tools along the way. With demonstrated working software that you can get access to from across the ecosystem. John has been really at the forefront of driving a lot of AI thought leadership around product management, and that's going to be a great workshop. So those are the 3 workshops we've got coming this year, and we'll be announcing next year's workshops very soon as well. And the last, one more thing I'll tell you about the Product Coffee Premium membership. Right now, it is $50 a month or $299 a year. We got a deeply discounted annual price. At the end of next week, next Friday at midnight, the annual price is going up to $400 a year. If you register now, if you enroll now, you will lock yourself into that $300 a year price for as long as you remain a member. So I highly recommend, if you've been on the fence about joining Product Coffee Premium, go to productcoffee.com/premium. Join today. That price is about to go up and it will never go back down. Next week, as part of our free series, we have got Anna McFarland, Director of Product Management at Paylocity, is going to be joining us. And we're going to be talking about how they run product strategy and product management at Paylocity. We're especially going to focus on how Anna evangelizes product vision and shares product vision throughout the organization. If you were at Product Camp, you know that she and John did a session on this very topic. We're going to take a little deeper dive into precisely what has made Anna successful as a product management leader at Paylocity and in her career. That's next week. That'll be at 11:30 a.m. So those on both the East Coast and West Coast, we hope you can join us for that one. And it's just going to be a kind of a coffee chat. I'll lead a discussion with Anna, but everybody here will be able to kind of jump in and add to the Q&A on that as well. So that's what's coming. We also have our regular notes document is open, and we, if you go to productcopy.com/notes, this is where we ask everyone to jump in as part of the community, as part of this session. Instead of taking notes for yourself, take notes for everybody. Anything you jot down that you want to remember, any questions that come to mind as we're going through today's session, any key points that you think people would benefit. Also, you may know of an article or a resource that you'd recommend to people who are here today. Drop it in this Google Docs notes document. Hit the little star button and save it off into your own Google Drive. It'll be there for you forever. But joining this part of our community tradition that we have, semi-automated. Which making everybody star it, Jerry? Is that what you're saying? You're shocked I don't have that automated?
No, like when you say the words that there's not some automation behind the scenes that automatically posts it everywhere.
I should get there.
You're the king of automation.
I'm pretty sure that I can put a
Right, Jerry.
button on my Stream Deck here to make that happen. I just hadn't thought it until you said it right there.
Not about the Stream Deck.
Cool. Jump in there and join us in at productcopy.com/notes. Now, before I get into the main program here today, I want to take a minute to show you folks something super, super cool. Let me get this up on my window over here. We are launching to our Product Coffee Premium members later today. We're going to be sending out invitations to the beta version of our new premium experience. And we've got a brand new website that we're still loading all of our historical content into. We've got all of our historical content is available for you. It's in a really ugly directory right now. We are moving it all into this new premium Product Coffee Premium membership area that's going to have a lot more than just our content. It's got our work right now. All of our workshops past workshops have been loaded in here. So when you join Product Coffee Premium, you don't only get the live workshops going forward, you get the archives of every workshop that we've ever held. And you'll get the archives of every workshop that we do hold as long as you're a member. And so, for example, in our AI prompt engineering for product managers workshop, you can drop in here and there will be, let me pause that so it doesn't start screaming at us. There's a full transcript that you can search in addition to all the resources that we had in the workshop, including the presentation. Misha shared some fantastic templates and some prompt templates and a workbook to help you build out prompts for your own product portfolio with ChatGPT specifically, as well as that notes document that we were just talking about. And we're putting this together for every session, every Product Coffee session that we've ever done before. Everything's broken into chapters as well, so you can jump around and find the content that you're exactly looking for. But even cooler than that, one of my favorite features of the new Product Coffee Premium website is we are launching the Product Coffee Barista AI, and that's what we're calling it right now. I'm totally open to better names, but I'm just really excited about this capability. We have got an AI powered chatbot in here that knows all the content that we have shared, every conversation that we've had as part of the YouTube streams, the public product coffee content, as well as our workshops and our book clubs. And you can come in here and ask a question about product management that you need help with. And let's say I want to, I did this one earlier. It does take it a minute to type it out, but I pulled this and what are some easy ways to share what I've learned in customer interviews? And the barista came back and gave us a list. Create an interview snapshot template, which is one of my favorites, and summarize them into a written report, and gave a bunch of ideas. But it doesn't just give you ideas for things that you could Google. What it also does is it gives you right down here every time we at Product Coffee have addressed that topic, and drops you a link not only to the session where we talked about a topic, but right to the time in that session where we talked about the topic that you're asking about. So you can find your peers, the folks you know here in Product Coffee, discussing the topics that are important to you right here. That is only available for our Product Coffee Premium members. It's inside the new Premium website. We're going to send that out to all of our existing members today. Watch your inbox for an invitation. If you don't get it by the end of the day, it was because there was a hiccup, or check your spam folder to make sure that it didn't get lost. It is coming from the new website, so some of the identity stuff may not have propagated properly yet, but you should have that in your inbox by the end of the day. Anybody want to give me a test question to ask it real quick right here live? Throw something at me, Holly.
Ben's on it.
Go for it, Ben.
No, I was thinking out loud, literally just taking my mic off to think. I go back to what I said earlier. How do you determine North Star? Because I think that was a recent conversation you guys had 2 weeks ago.
North Star for interviews?
No, I think it was another one that you guys were.
Got that loaded
Yeah,
in
we
here,
did do
yeah.
that, yes. I was like, I don't think it'll find that, but let's see what it cobbles together. It'd be interesting.
I bet it knows how many cats that Holly has.
There we
been
go.
mentioned
I
on that
doubt it
question.
does, but that's an interesting question, Jeff.
How many cats do you have?
The answer differs by the day. I should have included that in my intro. I'm also
Challenge
resident-
accepted. Let's see if we can load the cat count into product.
I also run the worst funded cat rescue program probably in Atlanta, so that's why the number varies. It's every single one of my cats is a rescue, and God knows I go walking late at night. That's when I clear my head and do my thinking. How always has been true for me, or night runs, and so I continuously find cats and either accidentally or intentionally bring them home. So I have 3 on my porch right now, 2 in the garage, and 5 in the house.
So it gave us a pretty good step-by-step guide to finding our North Star. And it also took us into our Power Metrics workshop that Jerry ran, as well as the workshop board with the PDF, with a bunch of the training that we did in our Power Metrics workshop. And we've got some other content on this topic that I know hasn't been loaded yet. So the answers are only going to get better.
That's really cool, seeing how it can recall that, and look at how it chunked it up and you gave you the snippets that right out of what we actually had as the content here. And I said this in the chat, but to some of our new folks joining us here, the reason I push for Product Coffee is not because I'm part of this crazy club, right? But is because the reason I'm part of this crazy club is this is the ability to talk to and learn from people who actually do it. And I'm sorry to sound, one of those people, but there's too many people on the internet running a coaching program, trying to tell you how to do a thing, making a YouTube video for something that they've never really truly done, and they're not an expert of. And so it's easy, especially when you're new into something, to not be able to filter that out and detect the real from the nonsense. And so this community is huge because this is a community of actual product practitioners, people who've done it, lived and learned the hard ways, failed as much as maybe we've succeeded sometimes, but that's when you really learn. And so this is super valuable to me, not all the fancy training slicks that are out there on the interwebs.
And I'm gonna add to that, Holly, because I agree with everything you said. But most of the content you'll find in there are from people that are on here week after week, and we're all accessible. Like if you see something in there and you're like, Jerry, that was crap. You said that, and I thought, like, call me out. or that was, Holly, that was awesome. I really agree. Can you tell me more? Like, reach out. We're here. We're accessible.
Yeah, we're on the Slack channel on Product Coffee Premium. So exactly, you can always DM anybody who did one of these sessions because they're there and be like, hey, I want to know more. Or maybe, Jerry, I didn't agree with what you said, but it's just because I missed a nuance. That's not a librarian would point out, we all take that information differently. And so we could read the same book that you've got mentioned in your talk and did some notes from, and I may not have gotten it, but I really just need to sit down and talk to you more to understand what I missed when I went through it. Right. Great point.
Yep.
Sorry, Jason.
Real question for you. Real quick question for you, Holly. How many cats do you currently have?
Oh, I may have been talking on mute. I said the answer changes constantly because I run the worst cat rescue program ever. So currently there's 2 on the porch, a variable amount in the garage, and 5 in the house. So there you go.
At least they're being rescued.
Yes, absolutely. Hey, George.
And if you are the random person, George, that just keeps bringing more cats to my neighborhood that seem to know what I look like and walk up to me literally when I walk at night going, hey, there's that lady we were told to find. Please stop. I am at a limit. I'm at capacity.
All right.
You might think that, Holly, but I couldn't possibly comment on that.
All right. So let's move on to our actual planned content today. I did want to do that introduction. I'm so excited that we're ready to launch that. What we're going to do next is I'm going to walk you through a framework that we put together here at Product Coffee to evaluate the state of your product vision. One of the and for the recording, my name's Jason Brett. Welcome to Product Coffee. We do this meetup every single week. We get together with a bunch of really smart product people and talk about the things that we're dealing with in our actual jobs, not just a bunch of training content and park and bark webinars that somebody tells you what they think you need to know. We have real discussions about real product management challenges and issues and how we can have more impact in the companies that we work with and are investing our time with. So we'd love to have you join us. Today, we're going to be talking about the product vision evaluation and knowing your vision strength. And the whole concept, last week, we had a session on getting a good look at what good product vision was versus incomplete and weak product vision. And we did a little poll in the session. And what we found is that of all the people that were there, about 10% of them said we've got really great product vision, well-defined, strong product vision. And then about 10% said we've got really poor product vision at the company that I'm at right now. And then the rest, that 80%, were kind of in the middle of, I don't know, or it's okay. I don't feel super strong about it. I'm not super passionate about what we've got. And it became really apparent that having a roadmap to strengthen your product vision is a really powerful tool that would help a lot of people. And I've been in this space for almost 20 years now, and I've worked with a lot of different companies of different sizes to help them develop clarity in their product vision and to think about it the right way. We've done quite a few sessions on the topic here at Product Coffee. But knowing whether you're in a good place or not and where you can lean in to build improvements is a much harder thing. So we put together this assessment to help you answer that specific question. And I'm going to walk you through kind of the 10 dimensions that I think you need to look at when you're evaluating your own product vision. And then we put together a digital tool that will let you categorize, self-evaluate all 10 of these dimensions with a really strong rubric for each of the dimensions and get a feedback report that tells you, okay, here's where you fall in terms of the overall strength of your product vision, and here are the areas that you should go focus on first to strengthen that, and here are some areas that you've got some relative strength in that you should know about and be proud of. So let's start just by taking a look real quickly at the framework itself, and then we'll drop into actually experimenting with it and seeing what kind of results that each of us gets. And for those of you who are currently looking for a new role, just think about the last company, the last product that you worked on. And for those of you who are entering product management and looking to move into product management, think about this as foundational perspective for your next product management role, to think about how you should be thinking about the way your the way your organization and team paints a picture of the future you're going to create with the products that you're responsible for. So let's see here. Looks like we're sharing. There we go. Boom. Now we got it. So let's get started here. And this isn't going to be a big slide presentation. I literally just I took our framework and put a single slide together to show you the 10 dimensions that you're going to be looking at with each of your products. And the first is clarity. And oftentimes I come across people who say, we've got great product vision, but when you ask to see it, they go into an explanation of what that product vision is, and they go into often some storytelling, but there's nothing that you can actually put your finger on that codifies and turns this, what I call tribal knowledge, into institutional knowledge that can be shared in general. So how clear is your product vision's definition? How well is it documented is the first dimension. Alignment is, does your product vision roll up, and is it clearly connected to your organization's strategic objectives, your organization's vision? So many times companies get off with products that don't clearly contribute to the vision of where the company is going, and those are products that are in danger of being defunded, of wasting resources, and if they're not intentionally experimental, those can become budget sinkholes and can become career limiting. So understanding how your product's vision aligns to corporate vision and your brand overall is crucially important. Does your product vision inspire and motivate your stakeholders, your team, to want to roll out of bed and come work on this every day? And does it motivate your sales organization to want to get this out in front of customers, making sure that you've got some inspirational impact there? How detailed and precise? What does your product vision do that will how precise is your overall vision? And that's not talking about implementation details. Your product vision doesn't need to explicitly line out how everything is going to be accomplished, but it does need to be precise in the outcomes that you're going to create for your customers, for your business. And there are some large strokes and guardrails that you put on your product vision to guide decision making. But do you have the right level of specificity? Is your product vision innovative? Are you creating something new? Are you really making changes and delivering new things? Or is your product vision somewhat stale, relying on non-novel concepts and just kind of holding space for something bigger to come along and displace it in the future? How practical is it? Is the technology available, or can you create the technology or the tools to achieve your product vision? Is it even possible to do so in a 5-year time frame? Do you have clear, measurable indicators of success baked into your product vision? How are we going to know we're succeeding? One of the things about product vision that is somewhat controversial is how flexible should your product vision be? Should it change all the time? No, a product vision should be fairly stable, but it should be flexible. And Marty Kagan has said your product vision should be flexible, but not fickle. So do you have the right amount of flexibility and the ability baked in, the processes baked into your system to evaluate, is our product vision still the right vision as market conditions are evolving? Are we still heading in the right direction, or do we need to make some adjustments? How are you approaching that? Does it resonate with all your stakeholders, both internal and external? Does your leadership get it? Are they proud of it? Are they supporting it? Are your customers excited about it? And if you can't share, if you're not sharing your product vision with your customers, then you need to also ask yourself, do we have the right vision? Are we approaching this the right way? You don't have to share technology details with customers and proprietary information to share a vision with your customers of how you're going to make their life better in 2 to 5 years. And speaking of sharing, I think I made up this word, evangelizability. I think we all can get what it means pretty quickly, but how easy is it? Do you have the resources, the artifacts, the tools, the stories that you need in order to share that vision with the world and with your organization? So that's the overall framework. And the work of evaluating your product vision is very simply the work of walking through an intentional measurement process. And to make this easier, I've put together a 10-question form with a rubric for each of these metrics that you can look at. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to invite everybody on this call right now to jump over to take a look at that. Let me pull it up here on the screen. I want to get you the link. And there's actually, if you go to productcopy.com/now, there's a direct link in the landing page for this specific session. But I'm also going to paste it into the chat right here. So you can run over to this form right now, and we can go through. And for those of you on YouTube, I'm going to drop it in the YouTube chat as well. We got a lot of people out here on YouTube today. Hey, everybody. There you go. Why don't you say hi as well? So you can run over to this form, and it will give you the product vision assessment. And it's going to ask you for a couple of basic pieces of information. It's going to ask you for your email address because we do the calculations offline and send them back to you. It's automated, so it's going to come back pretty fast. Just your first name, don't need a whole lot of contact information, and your product name. And this is the reason we're asking for your product name is, once again, we're not looking for deep intelligence. You can use a code name, but if you want to submit this more than once, you want to be able to distinguish one product from another in our system. You can use the real product name, or you can use some code name that you make up right now, just to put a handle on this process. So what I want to do for the next few minutes as we go through this, and is I want to kind of go through each of these, and I'm just going to talk about them a little bit and take questions about each dimension, because this is the first time that I'm actually sharing this with a large audience. There might be some things that we could refine or improve upon, so feel free to ask questions along the way. Marcos, you're asking in the chat, you asked, what's the difference between product vision and product strategy? That's a great question. Product vision is essentially the experience, the outcomes that you're going to create for your customers, for your market, when your product reaches a level of maturity. I generally think of it most of the time in a 2 to 5 year horizon. Where are we taking our customers? What is our customers' experience and world going to look like when we deliver on our plan? Your product strategy is how you're going to get there, how you're going to actually deliver on that vision. What are the technologies that you're going to use? What are your go-to-market plans? What are the specific applications, features, and products that you're going to launch in order to deliver that experience that your product vision is taking your customers toward? Does that answer your question? Anybody have additional that you'd like to add? This isn't just Jason teaching. This is a discussion. Does anybody else have a kind of way that they look at the distinction between product vision and product strategy?
Mine's pretty similar, Jason. It's the vision to me is like what you're trying to create. Like if you just think about a vision, what would the world be like? What world are you trying to create? And then the strategy is how you're going to get there.
Yep.
Yeah, I agree. How your customers' lives will be different 3 to 5 years from now. And strategy is your plan to get there.
Yep. Love it when we're aligned. I also love it when I learn new stuff. So it's okay either way.
Jason, I'd add that for strategy, I think that it's important that people remember that strategy is something longer term and it's strategic, right? Versus something that's tactical and in the short term.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. There's the strategic view, the big how we plan to get there, and then there's the tactical of the steps we're going to take over the next sprint, 2 sprints, quarter to actually implement the strategy.
Exactly.
Great point. Thank you. So for clarity, this dimension, it's really about how understandable is your product vision.
Jason,
And yeah,
a question about that on strategy. Would you guys break that into like, okay, so the strategy can be activated by your objectives and your OKRs or OGSMs, and then the specific key results would be, how the tactics that you use to get there. Is that how you guys would define it?
Say that one more time. So the strategy would be defined by.
So yeah, if you were gonna say strategy is like the how you might get there, but the tactics are obviously the little tiny steps that you use to get there. So if you're going to break that into maybe a framework on how you're going to accomplish it, so your OKRs or however you go about setting goals, your objectives could be effectively your strategy to attain whatever your vision is, and then your key results are obviously the metrics that you're going to use to measure that. But you could have how would you break down? I guess the question is if you're looking at strategy and the different methods to go accomplish those goals, if you were going to use OKRs, would you define the objectives as the strategy and key results would be, how you might get there as in terms of tactics?
The objectives, I think, are elements of the strategy. And Jerry, thank you for dropping this pyramid into the chat. And I'm just putting it up here on the screen. I think everybody can see it. Can everybody see it on my screen? So the strategy pyramid really talks about vision, mission, and values kind of at the top, and that's where we're talking about vision today. And then as you get down into your goals and roadmap, that's where we really get into kind of real specific product strategy. How are we going to get to the vision? And to your point and to your question, Ben, your OKRs, well-formed OKRs, you're going to have objectives that are kind of part of that strategy. And then you're going to have a daily, weekly, monthly action plan, detailed action plan that are the specific actions you're going to take in order to achieve that objective that you've got an OKR or a goal around. You're using your key results to measure, are our action steps indeed moving us towards that objective? Are we closing the gap between where we are and where we need to be in that objective? Does that help answer your question?
Yes.
Great. Fantastic. So you might have a completely undefined vision and not documented at all, or you might have a really clear, concise, well-documented, and regularly updated vision. And that regular update, remember, your vision doesn't need to change often, but at least touching and confirming it regularly is an important part of maintaining a clear product vision, to go back and say, yes, this is absolutely still where we are. I'm confirming it. It hasn't changed in the last 6 quarters, and we're moving closer to achieving our vision. Alignment is where we were talking about making sure that our product strategy is contributing to our organizational, our business strategy. Now, in a smaller, earlier stage company, those are probably going to be the same, because smaller startups are generally founded around a product that is solving a specific problem, and the product vision and the organizational vision are going to be the same. But as companies mature and diversify, that organizational vision starts to take on a larger context, and different products need to make sure that those different products are rolling up and contributing to that larger vision. Once again, like I said, if they're not, then you run the danger of making investments that will not contribute towards overall success become a sinkhole, and you run the risk of being in a role that becomes defunded, or working on a product that becomes defunded because it's not contributing. So you want to make sure that the product that you're working on is contributing to that vision. And if it's not, and you can't make it contribute to that vision, there are a couple paths. Well, one is adjust so that it does contribute to the vision. The other path is to start recommending, hey, I'm not sure that this product is strategic to our organization. Help me understand what I don't see. And when you lead the charge to defund a non-contributor, then that puts you in a different position than somebody who's a victim of defunding. One of the important tenets, as we talked about, of a product vision is, does this vision get everyone around you excited to be a part of it? Does it motivate the team? Is it evoking a sense of purpose and enthusiasm? Or is it completely uninspiring and people say, another day, another dollar, time to make the donuts, got to go grind it out. Well, at least it's a paycheck. Make sure that, understanding where you exist on this scale right now is a big part of evaluating this. We did talk about specificity a little bit a few minutes. And by the way, anybody, feel free to raise your hand, jump in if you have a question, want clarity on any of these. Or even if you see something, you say, you know what, I don't agree with this claim. Feel free to call it out. As far as specificity, when I say that a vision is very explicit and provides crystal clear direction, it's specific enough to guide all your decision making. That's not meaning that it's prescribing exact implementation details. Now, you may have a vision that you're going to, you may have a technology vision as part of a product vision, where there are specific technologies that you think can be exploited to solve a problem. A great example is the demonstration that I just gave of the new product coffee AI-powered barista. We've had a ton of content we've been building for 2.5 years, and making that accessible has been a real challenge. But when OpenAI opened their doors and released this new wave of generative AI to the masses, we suddenly said, hey, there's now a technology that can help us solve this problem. We're going to bring AI to bear to solve this problem. And that was part of our product vision for the new premium product coffee experience. So you can have that level of specificity, but it's about serving the goal. And our vision right now includes a specific technology, but that part of the vision can change if another technology becomes available that would solve it better. Questions or thoughts on that? All right.
I'd say available or accessible, which is, for a long time, that was sort of outside of the reach of the normal budget.
Right.
That's the second sort of dimension of the revolution, is not only these tools exist, but we can all use it now.
That is, you're absolutely right. That's a great point to make, Octavio. Thank you. It suddenly not just, it was there. I was working with these types of technologies at IBM 10 years ago, but the real truth is it is now available not just to technology professionals, but to the masses. And that's it, and that's driving a ton of innovation. Speaking of innovation, your vision doesn't necessarily have to be innovative. It doesn't have to have strong innovation. But the reality is, if it doesn't, then you're not creating something that's ultimately going to be competitive on the market. You're just going to be in a commodity space. So one of the things that you want to be really clear on is understanding your product vision's place in the market. Are we holding space in a mature market? Is our innovation really going to be restricted to pricing and a race to the bottom? Or are we doing something that's highly innovative, that is bringing some creative new solutions to old problems? And are we really looking forward so that we're creating a new reality in our product vision versus just accepting a state? And I would even argue that AI chatbot that I just demonstrated for Product Coffee is bordering between creative and conventional at this point. I mean, yeah, this is a fairly new technology, but we're taking an existing technology and using it in the way it was intended, with some unique data on the back end that it's delivering value against. But there will be other tools out there that we can use to solve that same problem in the near future. Feasibility. How realistic is it? Is this something that can be done? I think that's pretty self-explanatory. But there are degrees. There's I think I can, and there's I know I can, and but maybe we're not fully aware, or we're not looking fully at the marketplace to understand the alternatives that are available and customer readiness for this type of a product vision. Once again, measurability is an easy thing to talk about, a harder thing to do. Figuring out what your KPIs are, what your leading indicators are, what your North Star might be. Jerry, you dropped a comment in there. Oh, vision is best if it reflects a competitive advantage. Can I say that? I don't struggle so much with the word best, but maybe strongest is a word that you would feel better with, Jerry. So vision, but vision is best or strongest if it reflects a competitive advantage. I would absolutely agree with the sentiment of that statement. That's how you carry forward and win in the marketplace.
It's like, I'm just thinking of like visions I've seen that did not reflect competitive advantage, it was like, well, it's a great vision, but it didn't reflect that. So that's where I struggle. But I agree with it. Like if you can like competitive advantage in your vision, I think that would be better than one that didn't.
Yep.
Yeah, I've found that competitive advantage is something that should be baked into the strategy. That the strategy being the how. If the competitive advantage isn't a part of the strategy, it's generally not a good strategy. That is one of the ways you evaluate whether you have a good strategy or not.
Right. Yeah, that makes sense.
So looking at, so this one's a little bit trickier. Let's talk about flexibility and market responsiveness for a moment. So the real detailed description that I have of this characteristic is, how well does your product vision adapt to changes in the market environment, customer feedback, and internal stakeholder input? It evaluates the presence of a formal review process to update the vision and how frequently this process is executed. This dimension is crucial for ensuring that the product vision remains relevant and actionable in a dynamic market landscape. But if you look at the rubric itself, we've got a couple of different extremes here. At the top, for highly adaptable, we say that your vision is highly adaptable and does have a formal process for review and adaptation based on feedback and market changes. But down here near the bottom, we also have this notion of reactive, where your vision changes frequently due to internal pressures or specific customer pressures rather than feedback trends and market dynamics. How many of you have been part of products and product portfolios with leadership that almost give you whiplash with changing? Here's our priority today, and then our priority tomorrow changes. How many of you have been in those environments? Yeah, I see some hands up here. So that's the difference between being responsive and being reactive. And so when you're thinking about how your product vision changes, make sure that you understand this nuance and judge yourself accurately, judge your organization accurately and fairly on that. Or are they, Steve says, are they overly reactive to our client instead of proactive? And you're right. That's, you have a big 800-pound gorilla of a client who throws in some requirements. Does that change your vision because of one client? Your your 800-pound gorilla client might be giving you really good feedback that is an early indicator of a trend that you need to leverage and pivot and adjust on. But too often, a lot of immature organizations will just pivot and respond to that client because they're thinking, I need tomorrow's paycheck, so I'm going to do what the customer's telling me right now. The customer's always right, and that takes them away from their vision and takes them away from a strategic leadership position. Stakeholder resonance. Does your vision resonate up and down the chain, inside and outside the walls? Or is it completely something that nobody can understand except for you, and you can't understand? Why does nobody get this vision? Is this a problem? Allison, were you raising your hand to vote for I've been in that situation, or were you raising your hand with a question? Got it.
Sorry about that.
Nope, that's okay.
I didn't realize it was still up.
Nope,
I'm so
nope,
sorry.
No problem. Nothing to worry about. So, and there's a real spectrum of how mature you might be in this space. And finally, you've got evangelizability. How shareable is your product vision? Can you communicate it? Do you have artifacts? Are they easy for others to share? Is your organization really enabled on this vision so that everyone can speak to it comfortably and they have the resources that they need to share and help customers understand where we're going? Or is it something that it's still in somebody's head and the product manager always has to be on the call to share the vision? I would say that is an unshareable kind of a state for your product vision. So once you judge all those things and hit submit, and that will send in, and then we do some processing on the back end so that you can get some results. And I'm just going to look here and see. It looks like, yeah, we've got a few people who have submitted one, it looks like. See here, we got a new Product Coffee Premium member too. Let's see here. Let's say, Mary, welcome to Product Coffee Premium. Hooray! We'll get you in the Slack channel in just as soon as we're done. Welcome to Product Coffee, Mary. So I'm not going to read out anyone's vision assessment unless you specifically give me permission to. I've got something from Craig, from Ziv, from Luke, Maduri, Octavio. Are any of you willing to let me share, or would you like me to hold those steady? Just jump in and say, hey, you can share mine if you want to. Otherwise, I will share a fake one that I did earlier.
Yeah, you can share mine if you want.
Okay, Octavio, thank you. So I'm going to pull that up on the screen. Boom, pull it over here. So you'll get an email that looks like, oh, that's the wrong one. I thought I saw it there. Yours hasn't come through. I just got your follow-up email.
I just got it like a minute ago. So
okay, let me refresh again.
It there.
There it is. Got it. All right, so here we go. Here we go. So this is what you'll get if you haven't submitted one. It'll just tell you. So based on your submission, your product vision maturity score is 28, which gives you a maturity of nascent. That means your product vision is in its infancy, and there's a lot of work to be done to make it clear, aligned, and inspiring. It's often the case for very early stage products or teams that haven't yet prioritized their vision. But it gives you specifically some areas that you can go focus on immediately to get the biggest bang for your buck. And that is flexibility and market responsiveness. You're still in a reactive mode. And once again, early stage companies, that can often be the case, but starting to build towards greater discipline and a process for evaluating product vision will have massive impacts on your ability to succeed. Your inspiration, your vision is not communicating well enough to be very inspiring. It fails to evoke a sense of purpose. And that is, in an earlier stage company, in an earlier stage product, one of the most important things that you can do is create a vision and paint a vision of what the world's going to be like when your product is successful, because that's what gets everybody on board with pouring in their heart and soul to create this new reality that you're facilitating. and still fairly vague. Your vision provides minimal direction and is vague in guiding decision making. So a clear vision will help people understand the guardrails on what it is that they're trying to do, so that when it's time to make a decision, they can turn back to that vision and say, okay, I can be more autonomous because I understand the vision, which means we can move faster. We don't have to have as many decision-making discussions. We already understand the rules of the road and where we're headed. So my job is now to help us move there more quickly. And when we're all in line, aligned and inspired by that. At the same time, looks like you were dealing with some pretty good creativity. So you're kind of on the upper end of the scale there in the innovation side. So you've got some opportunities to create some market waves. And if you can communicate that in a more inspiring way, people will latch onto that. And you've got a practical vision in that this is something that's absolutely possible to do. You're not going to have to invent some, you're not have to rely on technology or capabilities that haven't been invented yet. You've got the tools in your toolbox to achieve this vision. They're readily available. So thanks for letting us share that, Octavio. And I will be really interested to see as more people complete this. One of the things I'm really looking forward to is once we have about 100 submissions in, we'll be able to start putting together some benchmarking so that you can understand how you stack up against others as well, in a broad sense. And so I'm really excited about the future that this tool holds and the roadmap that it helps us create to deliver more successful and more impactful product vision and take that leadership role in our organizations. The more you can own this, the greater impact you can have in your own organization, and the more you can impact your own career in a positive way. So, all right, so let me stop the share. Any questions or thoughts or deep dives that anybody would like to take on this topic? Jerry, go for it.
Yeah, I guess the one thing in thinking about all of this that I would call out is, like, don't do your vision in isolation, right? Like, the more of your stakeholders and your engineering team and your peers that you can engage in this, the richer your vision will be. Whereas if you sit there at your desk, first of all, it's going to be rather boring because you're just sitting there at your desk by yourself.
Yep.
But you can get the really rich conversation from your peers and your stakeholders. So
yep, that's a great point. Absolutely, your responsibility is to ensure that there is a product vision. It is not your responsibility to sit in a dark room and write the product vision by yourself. Your responsibility is to capture the corporate strategy and build on that vision and bring the team together, the cross-functional team together to determine what the future can look like, and then be responsible for helping paint that picture. Don't come down from the mountaintop, right, Holly?
Absolutely. You give us all a bad name when you do that. That makes everyone hate product people when we show up, walking in our ivory robes down the mountain going, this is the vision that has come to me.
Behold, I have 15 commandments, 10 commandments.
And all will be well and the money will come.
And it's an easy trap to get
carving
into.
Them in stone is a little too much too.
That's fair point, Mark. It's an easy trap for early career product managers to get into, and even seasoned product managers, because so many people, they do turn to you to be the expert and they ask you for the guidance, but the maturity and the wisdom comes from understanding how you arrive at the answers. It's yes, I'm responsible for making sure that we have answers to these questions. That doesn't mean I'm responsible for inventing the answer. It means I'm responsible for making sure that we have them.
And I'll just add to what you just said, Jason, that sometimes the answers may very well be in your brain. We are smart people, right? I'm not trying to diminish that, but to Jason's point, also, first of all, you need all that input, like Jerry was saying too, right, to come up with it. And none of us should think that we know all the answers, but at the same time, I think it's also super important and something I found very contingent on success in my career at many companies, small and large. But the bigger it gets, the more this is true, because politics, making other people feel like they were part of it. right?
Yeah.
You're going to get much better buy-in across stakeholders and the stakeholders leaders that you may not have met with or don't interact with, right? All the way up to the C-suite. If all those groups and all those people felt they had a part of it, that they helped create this, because then it's their baby too, right?
Yeah.
Instead of this is yours, and anyone who, you may have pissed off in the lunchroom is coming gunning for you.
Yep. 1,000%. Completely agree. We are at the top of the hour, so it's time for us to go. But I do have one question in the chat that I want to answer for anybody who can stick around. Catherine, you said you were asking about the feasibility category here, characteristic in here, and talking about that a vision is highly realistic given current resources and constraints. And you talked about, I'm in a situation where we do have that eye on market trends and customer needs, but we're going in a direction that is a little bit harder because we may need another team or build a better team structure in order to make it feasible. So is current resources the right term? That's a great call out. I'll think about maybe a better term. What I meant with that when I wrote this was really more of, do the resources exist in the world, and are they obtainable or attainable? Not so much a question of do you have them right now? Is it possible to get your hands on them, or are you relying on something that still hasn't been invented or is unavailable and out of reach completely? So
Okay.
that was the intent.
Okay, thank you. I probably took it too literally there.
No, that's a great question, because I do want to think about that and see if there's a clearer way to word that. So thanks for asking, Jerry.
Yeah, and I realize people have to jump, but for the after party, what you said there about the feasibility makes me wonder: would thinking about it that way take the aspirational aspects out of a vision? So, for example, if we think about, like, go back 10 years and the vision to go to Mars, like, it's not feasible. Or the vision to go to the moon, those weren't feasible at the time, but because of that the aspirational nature of them, people moved in that direction.
So I think of it, and that's a really good litmus test. And we can do some navel gazing justification, but I think of that one as the feasibility is on the upper end of the spectrum. It may not be at the top, because there's a realization in that vision of going to Mars, or that vision of going to the moon, is we believe that it is possible. We know we're going to have to invent some things in order to do so. Right. There's a time frame that we think we can achieve it within. And we have access to the resources that we need in order to invent the things that we need to invent.
Okay.
So if I look at Elon Musk with SpaceX, which is the very specific example, yeah, we've absolutely got a lot of ground to cover in order to get to Mars. We need a communication system that we can rapidly deploy to cover a Mars colony. We need to be able to power vehicles without fossil fuels if we're going to be able to move around on a Mars colony. So we're going to go invent some electric cars, and we're going to go invent Starlink, and we're going to get these things in place so that we've got access to the tools. All of these things are problems that we can solve with the resources that we have at our disposal. But we're going to innovate to get there.
Right. Okay. That makes sense. Yeah. So keep it aspirational, but don't go sci-fi.
Right. Or if you do, get very realistic about, can we get to that future, or are we relying on something that we have some rare element that's only available at the edge of the galaxy that we're not going to be able to get to for millions of years? Well, then that's not feasible.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That makes sense. Thank you.
Yes. I saw a video of him talking to Joe Rogan yesterday, and Joe Rogan's asking the question, like, well, will we be able to do something that doesn't need, where we don't have to have fuel-based propulsion? And he's like, not going to happen in our lifetime.
Yeah.
That's not feasible.
Yep.
He's like, we can't even invent that right now. We're so far away from that. That is in no way feasible right now.
Yep.
Okay. Great points. And great radio voice, Devin. Man.
Thanks, man.
I'm tuning in.
What's that podcast, Devin?
Experience Leader Podcast.
There you go.
I'm tuning in.
Thanks, man.
All right. Thanks, everybody, for joining us today. I know we ran a little bit over, but it was really great to have you here. Come back next week where we will be live with Dana from Paylocity. Not Dana, I'm sorry. With Anna McFarland from Paylocity. I saw Dana on my screen. So Anna McFarland from Paylocity will be here with us next week to talk about how she evangelizes product vision at Paylocity, how they do product strategy, how they organize their teams and build success at Paylocity. So come join us for that. It's going to be a great conversation. See you next week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Jason,
Bye-bye,
Jason, can you hang
guys.
up? Jason, can you hang out for a second with Devin?
Sure can.
Appreciate it.